On this day, it is my privilege to join Chancellor Mills in presenting the John F. Kennedy Award for Academic Excellence to a most deserving student. Christian Walks, please step forward.
Okay. Chris Walks. You've served the UMass Boston campus through your work as a peer mentor and as the writing tutor and tutor coordinator for the Calderwood Writing Center. Last summer, you were the only applicant in Massachusetts to be accepted to the Phillips Academy Institute for Recruitment, an intensive summer program that works with the underserved and underrepresented future educators to teach and serve as leaders in American education. You have completed your practicum as a student teacher at the Boston Public School, another course to college located in Hyde Park. And will graduate today with honors from UMass Boston with a bachelor's in English and a minor in secondary education. After graduation, Chris will be attending Tufts University to obtain his master's in education. And after that, we're working on a PhD, and he hopes one day to pursue a career as a professor. In recognition of your fantastic accomplishments throughout your time at our university and your selfless drive to educate and help others, I am pleased to present the 2018 Kennedy Award for Academic Excellence to you, Chris Walks.
Thank you, Chancellor Mills, for your kind words. And I would like to start off. Congratulations, class of 2018. We made it. We made it. It is with great honor and respect that I stand here before the UMass Boston community as this year's John F. Kennedy awardee. I would like to start by giving special thanks to those who have helped me and supported me in this journey. Thank you, Mom and Dad. Thank you, Professors Denise Patman and Sari Edelstein, students and faculty at another course to college, IRT, and all the lifelong friends I made along the way. Shout out to the Patman Squad and UMB Aquatics Gang. So I find it appropriate to begin with what makes UMass Boston a unique place for teaching and learning. As evidenced by the audience before me, UMass Boston is an institution that goes beyond the shallow, tokenistic claims of diversity and affords students and faculty the benefits of true diversity. In front of me are massive individuals who differ along the lines of religion, ethnicity, sexuality, gender identity, and age, amongst many other visible and invisible identities. Despite these differences in identity, we have and continue to come together as a community of learners and leaders, making UMass Boston a rich and vibrant place for learning and community building. So I thank you all. In preparing this speech, I pondered how I could address such a diverse audience of graduates, family members, faculty, and staff. We are not only diverse in terms of our various identities, but in our dreams and motivations, as well as our contributions to the world. Acknowledging the abundance of difference within this arena, I dare to say we are all connected. I find it necessary to highlight our connections between us because I believe there is a common thread that runs through each and every person in this audience. I now share with you the two questions that helped frame my thinking in preparing this speech. What is it that connects us here today, and in what way are our futures connected? It is this 50th commencement here today that unites us. We are gathered here with the shared purpose of celebrating the hard work and achievement of the class of 2018. More importantly, we are celebrating the individual stories of triumph in a world of adversity and instability. Today, we celebrate all graduates, the first-generation grad, the undocumented grad, the gender non-conforming grad, along with all other grads who have sacrificed and committed to their education. The beauty and strength of this audience lies within our difference. We each bring a unique story and set of lived experiences that, when pooled together, create an enormous catalog of our world. Each of your stories is a lens, better yet an artifact, that we can use to examine culture, institutions, and the impacts of ideology. I urge you all to critically examine your stories, those untold personal histories, as within those histories lies the power to interrogate and ultimately change our world. This is to the woman who fears sexual-based violence, the lower-class individual who struggles to secure food and housing, the Muslim individual under the gaze of hostile and suspicious eyes, and the immigrant who faces the real and unsettling threat of deportation. In short, this is to all who face oppression, many of whose oppression is overlapping. In Pedagogy of the Oppressed, Paulo Freire argues that we must develop critical consciousness, a skill of perceiving social, political, and economic contradictions to act against oppressive elements of society. I challenge you, fellow graduates and audience members, to exercise this critical line of social political inquiry. Identify cultural norms, systems, and institutions that conflict with your humanity, as this initial identification is integral to dismantling them. We all reserve the right to be fully human, that is, autonomous living beings, basking in liberty and dignity. If any element of society infringes upon that, I task you to investigate and mobilize. I would now like to take a moment to share some of my musings in response to critical consciousness. I am Black. I am a marker of death, a color people wear to funerals. I am a symbol of evil, something to fear in literature. And I am human, a living, thinking being that feels. In a world where Black is ontologically positioned with death and omen, where lies the room for my humanity? I ask myself this when I hear the haunting screams of a 65-year-old woman unjustly arrested by the police. When videos show that Congresswoman Maxine Waters must constantly reclaim her time following attempts to silence her voice. And when I hear the slogan, "Make America Great Again," which harks back to a period when people of my color were denied basic human rights. I have thus concluded there lies a connection between what the color Black connotes and the conditions of Black people. In here lies the power of a word, an idea, a concept to so heavily shape lived experiences. I began to search for reasons and answers in theory and cultural criticism as not only a means to understand, but to cope and problem pose. And I am left confident to affirm my humanity as well as critique and challenge the systems in society that seek to destroy it. This is my hope for all of you in the audience, to feel affirmed in the castle of your own skin and tied to the fight for your liberation. Keep questioning, keep interrogating, and keep challenging. Although we are here to celebrate our journeys to this moment, I find it equally important to discuss our promise for the future. Today, there's a common thread that runs through all of us: the recognition and celebration of our graduates. So what about after this? Do we all return to silos, separated by differences that at times may seem antagonistic? I urge that this should not be the case. Just as the ceremony unites us all here this morning, there is another invisible thread, yet real thread, that unites our futures. That thread being oppression. When you leave here today, I would like for you to imagine a world where you are liberated. For me, that world was the fictional kingdom of Wakanda. When I saw Black Panther, a part of me didn't want to leave the theater. It was a world so majestic, so beautifully Black, a world where I imagined myself feeling fully safe and free in my skin. A part of me still, to this day, wants to believe that Wakanda exists. I say maybe we just haven't discovered it yet. It is a harsh reality for me to admit that Wakanda doesn't exist. However, I find solace in the fact that it is an imagined world that can be forged by the right social political engagement. This notion extends to any imagined world, a world without xenophobia, homophobia, and religious intolerance. In the speech, Lighting Your Way to a Better Future, Nelson Mandela notes that education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world. Therefore, I chose the field of education, as when done right, it develops that also critical consciousness. In the fall, I will be pursuing a master's in educational studies at Tufts University, which will allow me to interrogate the ways education has served as a site of anti-Blackness and theorize ways education can be a site of liberation and dignity for Black students. Angela Davis reminds us that freedom is a constant struggle. Therefore, I ask you all to employ critical consciousness and engage in your necessary struggles for your liberation. As you prepare to enter graduate study, as you prepare to enter graduate programs, the workforce, or whatever your heart contends, do not forget about the humanities, and more importantly, your humanity. Do not sacrifice your humanity and continue to fight for it in whatever you do. Davis also reminds us of one important aspect of the struggle for oppression. That is, we must think intersectionally and insist upon the interrelationships of ideas and view our struggles as connected. Through this, we, as members of this audience, will be able to fight a worthy fight against oppression. I am proud and I am hopeful that we will all make positive contributions to this world. And I would like to end with the words of my highly favored mentor, Dr. Reginald Wilburn, and say to the class, do it for the babies in the womb, right? The work you do in the future, keep in mind those young ones who are not born yet, and think of your work as preparing them for a better world. And on that note, I'm out. Wakanda forever.